Alright, what's up guys? Welcome to the YouTube channel. I'm in the shop here today. We're going to be building a custom built-in, a bench across the bottom, cabinet, and a custom desk, and then some bookcases going up. This will all be surrounding a window on one side of a wall. So stay tuned. This is the sketch of what I'm going to be building. Got a desk over here, bench with 3 drawers. We'll have a custom cushion, a little cabinet over here, 2 doors with a drawer over here too, and then upper cabinets, kind of open bookcase design, and these drawers and doors, these will all be inset, and this is all going to be paint grade, so I'm building this all out of birch and poplar, and then the crown will wrap around the top, all kind of surrounding this window. So I start out, I go and I take good measurements of the space, where this window is, anything like this outlet here. We've got a baseboard heat that it's a radiant heat, and unfortunately they can't move it. So we're kind of building this all around it. So all of the backs of these cabinets here will be notched accordingly for this baseboard heat. You'll see what I mean, but it definitely complicates the design a bit. So this is my second day. First day was planning, getting all my cut list. I use Cut List Optimizer, which is a free program online, and basically then I just go and print out all these sheets with all my cuts. So I'll go through first and kind of design all these cabinets just by hand, and then I ended with this. These are all my measurements. So this is one of the uppers. I'll go through and kind of just figure out each cabinet and how I'm going to build it, just roughly, and then I get all my measurements, make the cut list, and then batch cut everything. Made quite a bit of progress yesterday. I didn't film it because I just wanted to get going and get busy. And today I'm going to be notching some of these for the baseboard heat and any other adjustments, and then assembling all these. Just assembled the first cabinet here. It's pretty simple the way I build these. I basically just build a box and then add on a 1/2 inch back, and by going 1/2 inch instead of 1/4 inch, I can screw into the wall, and this has enough grip to secure the cabinet to the wall. And you can see the notch that I've made for where this baseboard heater is going to go. So basically the process I use, I don't use glue. I'll go in with this 18 gauge staple and just kind of tack everything together. And I haven't done it yet, but now I'm going to go through and countersink screws all around this thing and screw this together, and that's plenty strong. No need to overdo cabinet boxes here. And then this will be open and the heat will come through the box. And I've left these legs 3/4 of an inch tall, and I'm going to have a cleat on the back side of this, and I'll put a 3/4 inch spacer so that I can hang this on the cleat with the spacer, shim this up level, and then scribe 3/4 of an inch off of each leg, remove the spacer, and this thing will drop down and be sitting right where I need it and perfectly level. And then I'll also add some blocks here 3 inches back for my baseboard. The first box is built, all screwed together. I also come back, and any areas on the back that overlap at all, I flush trim with this pattern bit on my router to get that nice and smooth, so that it doesn't interfere with the other cabinets or walls or anything like that. Then I glue and screw this cleat on here, and then I've got this cleat that gets mounted to the wall for installation. I'll mount this guy perfectly level at the wall, and then this other cabinet will come and just sit on that. I am working on the second unit here. This is the bench, and it'll have 3 different spaces, so 2 partitions in the middle. I've built, for some reason, I've been building a ton of these benches with 3 drawers. But to get everything evenly spaced out, I use these tremble points here, and I'll mark my thickness of the plywood on one side. Let's see if I can do this with one hand here. Close enough. And then I will spin this guy. Spin it again. Right on. I did bump it a little bit, but it is right on. So then I can mark those with my lines, or with my pencil, and then carry those lines over to the bottom. This is the top. And then I can start assembling this thing. Done with box number 2. This is the floating desk. The front is at the bottom right now. This is the back. So basically, this left side will be supported from a cleat on the wall. In the meantime, I'm just going to pocket screw this board here, just to hold it up so that I don't have this odd piece hanging around the shop. Got this guy done, and I finished upper on the left, the upper on the right. Drilled out all these shelf pinholes, and then I've got the shelves here, and I need to edge band that, and then these guys will be good to go. So all these ends here, I'm going to have a end panel basically to cover up all these screws and the back 1/2-inch plywood, and that can also get scribed to the wall so that it's nice and tight. Same with the base and the desk. The big bench seat, which is right here, this guy will have a face frame that's scribed in between the left cabinet and the right cabinet, and the top will also get scribed in with a template. A quick update here. I've got all my face frame parts milled out. For doing paint grade projects, I always use poplar, and I buy rough sawn poplar in 5/4, and then I mill it down myself to about 7/8 of an inch. If I can get an inch out of it, I will. Usually it's about 7/8, and that's a lot better than just going and buying stock S4S 3/4 inch. That's pretty typical, but going a bit thicker on doors and drawers is definitely a more durable product. We always want to build things right and build things to last long. So, milled out all my parts here. This face frame right here is for the bench, and the bench will be sliding in between the 2 cabinets. So these end stiles here need to be scribed nice and tight to fit. So they are oversized. And then my pocket hole screws here. This joint is not glued, so that I can take this off, scribe in my end stiles, and then come back, rebuild the face frame, and then it'll slide in nice and tight. And I cut these pocket holes with the Craig Foreman. This thing works so great for this. And then I will come back and sand the front nice and smooth. So now I am laying out my center partitions here. For doing face frames like this, sometimes I'll use a metric tape measure to figure out where these things are going to go. I've got 2 center partitions here, so I will put them in, actually slide them all the way to one side, and then I will take my measurement all the way across and I'll see what that is, and then that number gets divided by 3. And using millimeters instead of inches for something like this is a lot easier to get an accurate calculation. And then I will cut a spacer block to that measurement. That way I can come in and space these out with the spacer block and screw everything together. So the measurement I've got here is 1,346. So I'll come here and then divide it by 3, and we get 448.6. So I will make a spacer block that's 448 millimeters, probably in a half. So 448.5 millimeters will be my spacer block, and I'm going to go cut that now. So here's the spacer piece that I made here, and you want to go through and just double check that it's a perfect fit. If it's not, trim it a little bit. We've got a really good fit right now, so I'm going to use the spacer block, and these are going to get glued and screwed in because these are permanent. These ones will be temporary, but we'll put these ones in for good, and that way all of our partitions here for my drawer fronts are the exact same. I have got the face frame just sitting here clamped on. I go around and draw all my reference lines for my fasteners. The way I like to do face frames is with 0 visible fasteners from the front. So a lot of people will come and put their face frame on and just start nailing it off to the box. And you can do that. I like to do it so that there's no visible fasteners anywhere, and that way it saves me time and it's a much cleaner end result. So where I have access to the box sides, I use biscuits and pocket screws, and I'll cut pocket screws in the box here, and the face frame will get screwed in like that. And then the biscuits, I use a biscuit joiner to cut a slot in the box and a slot in the back of this face frame, and that sits in there and aligns these 2 faces here, as well as with glue, it does make it stronger. So where I don't have access to do the pocket screws, areas like back here, there will be a cabinet here, so I want to have access to that as well as the bottom, and I don't want to drill a pocket screw into this middle partition because you will see that when the drawers slide out. So in these type of areas, I use the Lamello Tenso connectors. Now this is a tool that cuts a similar slot to a biscuit, but at the end of the cut, it jumps up and down, creating a slight groove so that this back lip here on these connectors can slide in there and grab. And then these, you got a male and a female, they snap together with about 30 pounds of clamping pressure. So they work really well. Add a little bit of glue to the box, and then with those connectors, everything just kind of snaps on. And then where I have access to the box, I'll come back and screw it in. So now I'm going to finish marking all these. I've got to flip the box around. Got my Tenso connector mark here, and I've got to mark the bottom too. And then I will cut all these slots and cut all the pocket screws as well. Now with these end stiles, since this has to get scribed in, we've got a cabinet that's going to be sitting right here coming out further, and then a cabinet coming right here that sits out further. So these I've left long so that I can take this off and scribe this guy in, and then re-screw in the face frame, and this will all go in one piece. So to do this, there's a pretty creative solution. So I will use the tenso connectors, but I will cut a second slot for the tenso about 3/4 of an inch off, so that I can come in and I can snap this guy in 3/4 of an inch this way. I'll scribe to the cabinet 3/4 of an inch, and then cut that, and then this guy will come over and snap right on. Kind of tricky to explain, but you'll see what I mean when I install this. Got all my slots made with pocket screw holes drilled out. So the biscuits will go on top here, just like that. And then where I can't have biscuit and pocket screws, I'll use the tenso connectors. I'll show you the way these slide in. So you can see that back side of the slot is cut out a little bit deeper, and it corresponds with this so that it slides in there and that thing won't come out at all. And then it will snap into the other one here, just like that. So pretty cool system. And you might be asking why I'm not just doing that everywhere, and it's because the biscuits and pocket screws are a lot cheaper. Instead of starting another cabinet, I decided just to finish this one, installing the drawer slides. So I go around and fill in this reveal here with spacer. Basically, I go to each one, measure it with the caliper, and then run this through the planer, my spacer, put that in there, and then install the undermount drawer slides. So I am outsourcing the drawer boxes for this project, getting some nice dovetail boxes, but I will be making the drawer fronts. I have made a ton of progress in the shop. It's a bit messy in here, but yeah, I haven't filmed for a while. I got all these drawer parts milled out, all these stile and rails, got the grooves and the tenons cut. So now I need to mill the panels for that and get all the drawers and doors glued up. I got parts kind of everywhere right now. But then I'm working on the countertop for the desk, the cabinet, as well as the bench seat. And I'm just making these oversized with plywood. And I'm going to be putting a poplar edging on them. And I've got the biscuits so that I will just biscuit and glue and clamp these on there. And this will wrap around to the wall. And then these are built oversized so that I can bring them in and scribe them tight to all the walls. So I'm going to be gluing that up soon. The cabinets are out of the garage. I've got those staged inside the house in our guest room right now because it was getting a little bit tight in here, but I finished all the face frames, so I'll go show you those now. So here we are in our guest room. I've got cabinets everywhere. That's how it is. So here is the bench. Face frames all done. I installed the drawer slides. And then here is the bench seat. And so since this is paint grade, You can see where I sanded through that top veneer, but it doesn't matter. It's super nice smooth surface across, and that'll get painted up nice. Then here is the left upper, and I still have to make my shelves to go in here. Same with the right upper here. But all the face frames are done. I've got these just attached with biscuits right now. Just pressure fit in here. And those will get glued on site because all these are built a little bit oversized with a scribe so that I can scribe them nice and tight. So here is the floating desk. Got the front drawer face cut out for this. It's just sitting here. I don't have my drawer boxes yet, but I got the drawer slides installed. And then here is the right side cabinet. Got the face frame done here. I attached these little blocks so that once this thing's installed, I'll have somewhere to mount the baseboard that will go across here. And I still got to make the drawers, or the doors, I'm sorry, and install those. But yeah, I got the drawer slides in here as well. These are all Bloom undermount. Soft close, super nice drawer slide. I'll be using the Bloom soft close inset door hinges as well. But you can see I've got my end panels attached here as well. Just in the meantime, but those will get scribed to that back wall as well. I've left a little bit of overhang. Everything is built oversized so that I can scribe it and that it'll all be super nice and tight. All right, back to the shop. Okay, all my panels are cut out. I've got everything just dry fit here. I use Baltic birch for the panel and obviously poplar for stiles and rails. I could be using MDF since this is paint grade, but I never do. MDF is a bad product in my opinion. I don't like to use it. It doesn't last long, and I always build things to last. So it's a bit more expensive to go with birch, but a much better result once it's painted up. And then I usually build my doors a little bit differently. I'll use a domino tenon, and I'll run this groove. I'll do a stop dado here so that this is on the bottom so that there's no sticking. And then I'll use the domino, but this time I ran it just a typical style and rail door, I guess you would say, shaker style, where that sticking is met with this tenon here. And the way I cut these, I'll run the grooves with the table saw, with a dado blade or just a 1/8 inch dado, and then flip it back and forth. Or sorry, 1/8 inch blade with the kerf. And then for my tenons here, I will make the shoulder cuts first with the miter gauge here, and then I'll come back and make my cheek cuts with this tenoning jig that I made, and it just rides on the fence. All the doors are glued up, as well as the final countertop here. This is for the cabinet on the right. The one for the desk, I got out of the clamps and gave it a good sanding. Looked really good. I will touch up with some wood filler where I had those miter clamps, and I'll just wood fill all this and then sand it. I think it's all flush, but there's always some gaps that you can't see. And then you'll see them when it gets painted up. So I'll wood fill that, sand that. Now I'm going to clean up the shop while all this glue dries, and then it'll be on to sanding these. I am all done with the build, and we are ready for install. Got the 3 drawer fronts here all done, everything sanded, super nice and smooth. I've got this cabinet sitting here in the shop right now. I just hung these doors, and I've got this drawer panel sitting in here, using some cards to play with the reveals a little bit. But everything is looking super nice. I've got these on Bloom inset hinges, and I milled up a little door stop for this center stile here. And I ordered the wrong hinges. These aren't soft close, so I've got some soft close ones coming that I will swap out. But everything is done now. I'm going to load it all up into my trailer here, and then I will be on to install. So here's where the built-in is going to be going. On the right there is a closet. I had to extend that opening so that it stuck past the cabinets. So I got the desk here as well as the cabinet on the right all installed. The cleat and scribing process worked very well. Now I've got the upper cabinets installed. Everything is sitting perfectly level and plumb. So this is the end of day 1. It was a shorter day of installation, but got most things in. So on goes the face frame. Got the side scribed in. And here I am installing that face frame with the tenso connectors. So I make a template for my bench top here out of 1/4-inch plywood. It all gets glued and scribed together. Then I transfer that onto the final bench top. So I removed the bottom of the left upper cabinet to allow more desk space. Turned out pretty good. And then we got all the drawer boxes installed as well as the depths adjusted. Then I got my drawer fronts, doors on, adjusted all the reveals, got everything fitting super nice and tight. And then I used some tape as my door and drawer poles because we don't have the hardware yet. So here is the end result. I'm very pleased with how this turned out. Super fun project. Please let me know what you guys think. Thank you. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Still a couple things I have to do. We ordered the custom cushion, but that's got a little bit of a wait time. So when that gets here, I'll bring that over, install the cushion, as well as all the door and drawer hardware, and then it'll get prepped and painted. So should be looking really good when it's done. But thank you guys so much for watching. Please like it, subscribe, and comment. Thank you so much.